And I think the biggest thing about it now is the belief. If you believe you can do something, you can do it.
Here at bookmakers.co.uk, we have reached boiling point in the Euros, and with things hotting up nicely, the first of the round of 16 games is in Amsterdam, 5 o'clock Saturday. Denmark against Wales. Who finer to help us shed some light on this key clash than Ian Rush? Welcome back.
Great to see you.
Good to see you, Ian. I know you've had a busy couple of weeks flitting about the place, supporting the Welsh national team, watching them progressively. Well, if they haven't been getting better and better, they've really been holding their own against some very, very good opposition. And I suppose that's the first discussion point. This particular chat is to say, objective one has been achieved, qualification. But answer me this and humour me, because I know it's 5 years on and I know nothing stays the same. But are Wales about to, if you'll pardon the phrase, do a Wales? Because this time in 2016, you think, crikey, they're really starting to gather a head of steam. And yet, 5 years on, the route is at least open. The door is ajar. Are they about to do a Wales?
Well, I'd like to say yes. It's very difficult. But in 2016, when they got to the semi-final, it was an amazing journey. It's something that I'll never forget, because I kept changing me flight back to the UK. It was amazing. So hopefully it'll be the same again. You know, we don't know what's going to happen, but from a Welsh point of view, I think they're confident and they're strong, and I'm really looking forward to the game.
What's the mindset, Ian? Is it one that actually really the minimum possible objective was going into this tournament saying, we want to qualify, we want to get out of a tough-looking group. After that, we'll roll the dice and see what happens? Will those players actually be thinking, well, do you know what, we've got nothing to lose now because everybody at home's proud of us. They've already achieved something special. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think they've got through to the knockout stage now, and anything can happen. So it's go and enjoy yourself. And I think the biggest thing about it now is the belief. If you believe you can do something, you can do it. And I think Wales must be thinking in that mindset, saying, yeah, let's go out and show the world how we can play. And for me, who's the best team on the day will win. And we've got so many quality players. So I actually believe that we can do something.
Well, they've come out of a very tough group, the final game of which you were in Rome to see them play Italy. Certainly in flashes in that game, they played some really nice stuff. Who did you think, having actually been lucky enough to witness it in person, were the standout performers for Wales on the day in Rome?
For me, without doubt, it's going to be Danny Ward, the goalkeeper. You know, he made some excellent saves. I think you've got to give Italy a bit of credit here. They changed a lot of players, but they played the high pressing game against Wales. And when you look at Wales now, maybe Robert Page will be thinking, maybe I should have started with more, because we didn't really have a get-out ball. We were playing it round the back. And in fairness to Italy, they closed us down. And I think when Moore came on, we had a get-out ball, a long ball. And sometimes you've got to do that. And when Moore came on, he was holding the ball up, and that allowed Gareth Bale to have that freedom. The chance he had in that game was because they played a sort of long ball, Moore chested it down, and Bale got in that space. So for me, in hindsight, it's great now, but I think maybe he should have started with more. But at the end of the day, we got what we got. We got what we needed, a result, and we're through to the knockout stages.
Well, in hindsight, no Welshman should have booked a flight home, because they're going to Amsterdam next. And actually, joking aside, I was going to say Amsterdam, 5 o'clock on a Saturday, having played in some pretty humid conditions. They began thousands and thousands of miles away in Baku in Azerbaijan. Then they went to Rome. Tell me about, from a professional's perspective, will they take any comfort and encouragement from now switching to conditions in Amsterdam, late afternoon in Northern Europe? Is that going to be something that's easier for the Welsh players? Because, and I know this applies also to the Danes, but from a Welsh perspective, the conditions will be more like playing at home.
Yes, I would agree with you there. But at the end of the day, it's all about energy levels. I think when you're playing in heat and everything, you can get to 60, 70 minutes and your energy levels drop. But now playing in Amsterdam and all that, hopefully the energy levels, which needs to be high anyway, I think the players can do that for the 90 minutes because of the conditions in Amsterdam.
One of the key aspects of this tournament thus far, Ian, and I know some people have said, well, 6 groups of 4, it's diluted the quality. I'm not sure if it hasn't actually expanded the excitement factor, because we've had this real cliffhanger of who's going to play who. And in Wales's case, we know that it was the second in Group A against the second in Group B, which actually was fluctuating and the pendulum was swinging. First, it seemed to be Russia, then it was Finland, then it was Denmark, then it was Russia again. Eventually, we've ended up with Denmark. Would you have had any preference between those 3, or are you happy to face the Danes?
The last team I would like to face that was Denmark, to tell you the truth. I would have been happy with Finland or Russia. Denmark, a bit like Wales, they can be dangerous on the day. And when you look what's happened to Eriksson and all that squad himself, I think they'll be fighting to try and do something and make Christian Eriksen proud. And I think they can be a dangerous team. And for me, they're exactly the same as Wales. I think Wales can dangerous because it's got a great team spirit. And I think Denmark have a good team spirit as well. So when you put them two together, it's who's going to perform on the day that will win. To me, I could even go to penalties. No, they're that, for me, that evenly matched, it can actually go to penalties.
Well, that's an intriguing remark. And I'll just actually deviate and say the match prices, the bookmakers make Denmark 5-6, 9-4 the draw, 4-1 Wales in a 3-horse race, including the draw. And you're saying it's so tight, it could go to 120 minutes and then penalty kicks. That suggests there could be some excellent value in Wales at 4-1 in the 90 minutes match prices. But focusing in on what you just said about Denmark, Ian, this is really intriguing to me, because I see a team that really emotionally have been on a roller coaster. Thank goodness there seems to be good news about Christian Eriksen, obviously. But are they a team that are on the verge of exhaustion, frankly, both mentally and physically, potentially? Or are they just riding a wave of total exhilaration, public support, mass backing, excitement, wanting to do their teammate proud? And actually, maybe that mental strength they're deriving from that overwhelms any tiredness. Which side of the coin is that? Is it exhaustion, or is it just sheer exhilaration?
I think they're on the crest of a wave, in my thing, because when you're winning, you never get tired. And that's what you have to look at. I think the energy levels will not drop from Denmark. That's 100%. They'll be going out and giving everything. They're going out to enjoy it. And I say everyone is behind Denmark as well. So from that point of view, I look at it and say they're on the crest of a wave, and they're going to go out and show people what they can do. And I say Wales is exactly the same. Wales are in the same position. They're on the crest of a wave. They want to go out and show people how good Wales can be. So for me, I think it's going to be a really, really interesting match.
So in many ways,
as you say, 4-1, it's amazing, because when you're on about when Turkey were favourites to beat Wales as well, and Wales beat them. So I think this is going to be something very similar.
It's going to be some atmosphere, is the truth. Who do you fear from that Denmark team? Because obviously we saw their last performance against Russia. A couple of the strikes, one in particular, was a phenomenal goal that would grace any match in any tournament. They've got good players, that much is clear. But who, if you're sitting in the dressing room saying, keep a special watch on 1 or 2 individuals, do you fear, Ian?
You're Poulsen up front there, and the lads come in for Eriksen. Actually, he scored. The young lads come in and scored 3 goals. I think they're a bit like you're saying, like Wales. Wales have individuals, but they play as a team, and that's Denmark. Denmark is doing exactly the same. And what I say is, it's fascinating to see. You got Kasper Schmeichel in goal, and you got Dan Ward in goal for Wales. They're Leicester's 1 and 2 goalkeepers. So I find it quite amazing. I think Schmeichel is a team leader. And he's one of them that gets everyone motivated and all that. So I think he's very inspirational for Denmark.
Therefore, and you mentioned that perhaps the tactics could have been different in terms of how Italy worked out how to play the press, etc. And it was the introduction of Kiefer Moore that provided Gareth Bale with the width and the freedom and the access. How, in this instance, does Robert Page deploy his troops to try and counter the threat of Denmark?
It'd be interesting to see what team he picks. For me, I would start with Moore, definitely, because he's like if you're struggling, he's your get out man. He can hold the ball up, he can get you winning goals, but also defensively from corners. He's been very good at that. But people don't realise that. They only look at him as an attacker. But I've seen him play come on defensively, his heading of the ball is excellent. So I would start with him, but again, I'm not the manager, so but I think it gives Bale and Ramsey that chance of a free role. One of them will have a free role if he plays. I think when Moore wasn't playing, Bale was like the target man, and Bale is not a target man. Bale is one of them where just go out and do what you're good at. He's a world-class player, and I think if Bale does do that, I think it could be dangerous.
Sure. With that in mind, and I know you preempted it earlier, saying this is a match that could go to distance and more. A prediction for 5 o'clock on Saturday in Amsterdam, please, Ian.
I'm going for a Wales win anyway, outright. I think outright Wales will win, and I'd like to be sitting in. I'll be at the game, so I'll like to be sitting in my chair with 10 minutes to go, seeing Wales 2-0 up. I'm not sure that'll happen, but so I think it makes it more relaxing. But I'm going to go for Wales outright win.
Hey, listen, it's the Euros. It comes only once every 4 years. Go big, go home. Let's hope Wales don't do that. P.S. Ian Rush, the draw's opening up. If they could get through this, if they could get through the quarters, they might just find themselves playing you-know-who, England. And I know we're a long way away, and we have a tendency to get carried away and to get excited, etc. But that in itself would be a match for the ages, a Euro 2020 semi-final between Wales and England. What have you, almost in the, maybe you're not a neutral observer, but you're very well placed to offer a different assessment from the usual voices we hear. What have you made of England so far, Ian? Have they been a bit pedestrian, or actually is this a team that have been tight at the back and just are waiting to explode up front? Do you like them?
I think they're doing okay. Looking at it now, you think, could England do better? Yes, but they're through. They're winning the games, and that's what it's all about. These people like that. Italy are doing a similar. But I think England have 1 or 2 games in them where if they do come to school, they could beat anyone because they do have world-class players. Whether they do it to win the final, well, you got to win the quarters, you got to win the semis, you got to win the final. That's 3. You got to play 3 games on being really good. Do England have it in them? They do, but I'm not too sure whether they can. I think they can get to the semi-finals without doubt because they've got quality players. So at the end of the day, they just need to show the nation how good they are. They're getting through, they're scraping through slowly but surely. And I think if I was an English fan, I'd just like to see England play one great game, get the confidence of the nation behind them, and anything can happen after that.
Perhaps a little bit like Spain with their 5-0 win against Slovakia. Maybe that's the thing that turns on the tap. We shall see. But for now, as part of the Ian Rush World Tour, which has taken in various countries, and the next pit stop is Amsterdam, the very best of luck to Wales. Let's hope we're talking to you about a potential quarter-final. Ian, safe travels. Thank you.
Thanks so much.